Okay, we're here at Many Hands Organic Farm in Barre, Massachusetts, and delighted to be here with Jack Kittredge and Julie Rawson, the owners and leaders and inspiration behind the farm. And we hope in this short video to give folks a nice introduction to the farm and many of its philosophies and ways in which people might choose to get involved with the farm. Julie, would you mind giving us a quick overview of the farm and introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Well, we moved out here in 1982. We bought the land in 1980 and built this house right here behind us, and started, farming here soon after we got the house built. And we had raised our 4 children here, and it was based on their involvement really that we came up with the name Many Hands Organic Farm. They were very instrumental in helping us get going, even as small children. So we have, from the start, I think, been very invested and very good at getting folks to come and help us here and be involved in some fashion or another. When we built the house, Jack sent out a newsletter every couple of weeks and got all of our friends from Boston out to help us build the house. And so it started really when we first came here, that people have been involved in whatever project we've been taking on here. So the Many Hands, I think, really fits us in that we really enjoy lots of folks. We sit here at this table for lunch, 5 days a week, sometimes 12, 14 people here who have come to volunteer or who get paid to work here and come and have lunch together. So that's our a real focus of our farm. We're also certified organic, been that way since 1987. We're also no-till, been that way since 2014, and we have a deep interest in ultimate fertility and nutrient density of food and food as medicine.
Okay, thanks. There is a real sense of community here at Many Hands. And Jack, maybe you might sketch out some of the ideas, some of your thoughts, introduce yourself, and some of the big picture about the farm.
Sure. As Julie said, we came out here, we bought the land in 1980. We had met in Boston. We were both doing community organizing at the time. And when we met and fell in love and got married and had our children all in Boston, and when we bought the land and came out here, they were very young. One was half a year old, and the oldest was, of the 4, was not yet 5. So we came out here with an idea of raising our family in rural area, close to nature, raising our own food, doing that kind of stuff, which I think we both really wanted to do in terms of raising our family. Once we got involved in raising our own food, people got interested in what we were raising. We started going to the farmers market in Barre. We started looking for other markets to begin to sell our stuff. It kind of slowly graduated over 2 or 3 years into a real commercial farm, and we've been selling produce and eggs and poultry and pork pretty much since then. We experimented with different models for farming. Farming in America, of course, is usually done in industrial giant farms, and there's a small farming movement that we were definitely part of, which is more organic and more focused on a lot of natural methods, and those are the ones that attracted us. So we became involved with the organic movement here and became very active and leaders of the New England organic and the Northeast organic farming, small farming movement, and that is usually involves selling direct to the customer, as opposed to going to a wholesaler with food that's processed, or trying to rush it quickly to market through wholesalers from California or something coming out here via planes and then getting it distributed. We actually sold primarily to people who were very close, people either who lived in Barre or lived in surrounding towns. And the way that's done is through an organizing principle called community supported agriculture, where people commit to a local farm for a season, usually a summer and a fall of production, and they pay a certain amount for that, for getting a bag every week of fresh produce. It's kind of like I tell people, it's like having somebody do your gardening for you, and every week they present you a bag or two of what you produced in the garden. So that's been a very successful model for a lot of small farms, and that's primarily what we do. We also sell to a few more wholesale accounts. I think one of the things that we've been focused on here is not just producing the food and selling it, but involving people in that. So a lot of our labor supply is actually shareholders who will be getting food in exchange for their work. And we have also experimented with getting people who are more in the outskirts of society, either ex-prisoners or young boys from there's a local, used to be an orphanage, now it's more of a halfway house kind of facility for young children and teenage boys and so forth. And we bring them out here occasionally. And so we've tried to work as much as we can with those kinds of populations and figure those are often the kinds of people who can't sit still in a classroom and really learn much better when they're out actively in nature doing things. And so we found that very much the case, and found both some ex-prisoners and some boys who have had, tough backgrounds, who have fit in with farming very well, and we've hired them in many cases, and gone on to, they've had careers doing this kind of thing when they got out to do real jobs. So I think part of our emphasis here is education, and that's why we're doing these videos on just very practical matters that people might want to know. How do you do this kind of thing? How do you can tomatoes, or how do you keep chickens and get good eggs, or whatever it is. Those are things that we've got experience with, and we're trying to get people to learn more about, because we think to the extent that you take charge of feeding yourself and your family by producing the food directly, be it through a garden or doing it through a local farm, you're going to have a much healthier experience. And as Julie said, food is medicine, and it's basically the originating point at which good health, from which good health comes.
Yeah, well, thanks. And I know there are many ways to get involved on the farm. You've mentioned, some different ways that people do that. I'm a working shareholder myself, and it's a wonderful part of my life and weekly routine. And but Julie, you want to speak to what that kind of experience is like for folks?
Yeah, and just also the way we recruit. We have a newsletter that I write, and Jack sometimes puts stuff in it, and various other people put things in it, and it's available if you go to the website at mhoff.net. You can sign up for the newsletter. But that keeps people really closely in touch with what we're up to each week, and then you get all of our opinions about things too. But yeah, working shareholders are, welcome to come any Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from 8 to noon, and do whatever it is we're doing that day, and take home a large share in exchange. And a lot of folks started working in the winter time too recently, and so people come in the winter. That last year got a dozen eggs and a quart of applesauce every day they came. So, we try to find something that has food value in exchange for people's work. That's a major way. We also take groups. College students, we've had Clark, WPI, Holy Cross, all the Worcester schools have been out at various points, and sometimes as far as Northeastern, and other schools have come from around Mount Wachusett Community College, and any other kind of group that people want to come and volunteer and learn about what we're doing, and usually participate in helping with some project or other. So always encouraging folks to come by and participate.
Yeah, and I should note, of course, the most common way of participating is purchasing a share, and which you might say briefly about the how that works, where people pick up
Yeah,
their
we're actually
veggies.
sold out for this year, but
Mhm.
you know, the shares are for 22 weeks in the summer and early fall, and there's another fall share for 4 weeks, and you can get it in small, medium, or large, and they're delivered all over the state. You know, is our most northerly one is Gardner, I think, this year, and our most southerly one is probably Sutton. And you know, we're Shrewsbury, Worcester, Holden, Athol, or picking up at the farm. So that, you know, most Worcester County folks could probably find a way to get a share, not too far from home.
Yeah. So working on as a working shareholder, that's a small percentage, maybe 10% or 5% of the folks. It's optional. Um, okay, so I know it's many hands organic farms, but can other body parts get involved?
Yes, knees.
Knees? Uh-huh.
Yeah, shoulders, hands. Yeah, I said the hands, feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, come and you know, build your entire body
Yeah.
system. And we also do a lot of talk therapy. You know, depending on who's here and what their issues are. A lot of sharing of information. A lot of blowing off of steam about various political issues, depending on who's here. You know, it's we always say what is said in the field stays in the field, but there's also a lot of good conversation here, and that's why I think a lot of people come to find community here and usually stick around and have a good time.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess, do you want to say anything further about your hopes for in terms of further outreach? This video is one little intro, but there's always new things cooking here at the farm.
Yeah, we try to put out a new feature-length YouTube about once a week about something that we're doing on the farm. So, you know, food preservation, farm practices. I was thinking maybe Jackie might do some political diatribes once in a while about things too. You know, whatever we do here, we'd love to share it with you.
One of the things that animates us is that we're pretty convinced that the American food system is a very unhealthy and undemocratic, I guess you might say, way of living. It's dominated by very large farms that get very significant subsidies from the American taxpayer. The effect of that is that American food is available for sale at a very cheap price around the world. That has major effects on agriculture in other countries. Mexico is a good example, where in Central America, where a lot of the people who are being driven off the land and coming here as immigrants are responding to America's flooding their countries with cheap food supplies, meaning they can no longer make a living on their own farms. That's the thing we don't even think about when we think about the food system, but it has international impacts that come back to affect us very much at home. And we believe pretty strongly that not only for health, but also for political reasons, for keeping a democracy, small farms are an important part of, should be an important part of that picture. We should have less industrialized mega farms, and we should have more small farms producing, and gardens where people are producing their own food. So it's not only that we enjoy this kind of life, but we think it's an important thing that other people would enjoy and would make a better country if we had more small farms and more food production by people themselves.
Okay, wonderful. Are there any last thoughts you'd like, or that was a pretty nice place to end on? But
Yeah, we can come back for more later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we feel very fortunate we've had an opportunity to live like this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, all you folks in internet world, hope to see you around the farm.